Hope everyone's well. Um, Today is a few bits of news, updates, and then questions. How many have we got on here? 50 people. Okay. So we've been really busy, and I do want to cover. This is for everyone. This one, so because I'm covering 2 or 3 subjects. So let's get some bits that way. Okay, so if you want to ask any questions, I'll stay on until the questions stop or I run out of beer, one of the two. Q&A, but remember, put question at the front of the question, then I know, so as I scan down, then I can't miss it. It's a question. So that should be good. So let's go for a few bits and pieces, non-monitor related. This is not really a big monitor one. There is some stuff, but that's why I made it basic for everyone. One thing I found is it's very expensive to develop this. I knew it would be expensive, obviously, right? And I budgeted, but because we had the extra more sales than I thought. I thought we'd probably get 800 to 1,000, and we got 1,500, and there could potentially be more. So it's basically meant that the things that we could go down the full route, the better route. You probably all know about this. The slots, basically. So let me kind of cover this. Let's do the monitor first, actually. So the important thing to bear in mind is this, that it's exactly what was said before. There are certain things that are optional extras, but one of those optional extras is going to be the backplane. It's very tricky at the moment because you'll probably notice I haven't put the site live. The reason for that is because of the changes we're making. We're doing loads of work. Appy's working non-stop, even with it. Well, he took a short period off with his shoulder, but short. But we're doing an awful lot of work there, getting this backplane business to a point. Well, it's to be fair, it's not far off. But we're trying to get it obviously spot on for everyone. These things take time. So we're going to hopefully send off in a week or two what will technically be version 3 of the board, the controller board. It's not the last one. There's going to be another one, which I'll tell you more about later, the reason why. But if that's all goes well, then we go into the next stage, which I'll discuss it once it's semi-nailed. But the board is as with prototypes, things don't work, and then you tweak them, then they do work, and there's all these usual things. We've had on the controller card we're using. I just took it for granted that AV1 and AV2, the sound would work on both. And then I did a test for the show, and AV2 wasn't working. The audio wasn't working. Great. Anyway, it turns out I hadn't activated in the firmware. Because I don't think most people who use these cards are actually using all the audio visual stuff. So that's been activated, and that's now working, which is great. As you know, these are the kind of things we have to go through. On the HDMI output, again, this is an optional extra, but probably mentioned that we had a few little issues. Basically, it worked, but it's dropping connection for some reason. We've got a capture card that works going there. And what I will say is, I will, with the HDMI output, you will get a capture card, okay, or a capture device. So the problem we got is it's nothing to do with us. I'll be honest. It's absolutely nothing to do with us. Our monitor is a 1280 by 1024 display. Okay, so when it outputs that, it outputs 1280 by 1024. It's not rocket science. Okay. Now these high-end, including my Blackmagic card, are only interested in video, and so they don't support 1280 by 1024, and it just doesn't work. And so a number of people have got them now. Hilariously, not that one. This works. I'm going to sneeze. Apologies. Hang on a second. Hope you all caught that. Yeah, we've been going through these. All these inexpensive ones work fine. They have 1280 by 1024. Now, we are not converting this display to widescreen. It's not a widescreen monitor. It's a 5:4 aspect ratio monitor. Your capture card needs to do it. But to make this clear, if you order an HDMI output upgrade, you'll get the HDMI output, and you'll also get a capture device, just one of the small HDMI into USB. You'll get one of them that we know works, so you will work. Okay. Will it work if you're using a high-end capture card? I don't care. I can't do anything about it. If you want to get Blackmagic to support 1280 1024, fantastic. Then it'll work. There's nothing we can do about it. And I know people have mentioned about, can we scale it to widescreen? Why? It's 1280 by 1024 display. If we're doing HDMI out, that's what you're getting. So we'll just make sure you can do it. So you'll have a capture card that will work, and it will be included with the package if you order the output. That is. So that's cool. We're gonna nail that. And what else? Okay, so the site is not. I know I said it'd be up April, May. Well, one of the problems is we haven't got the price for the slot 0 card, the main card. And until I've got that price, it's very hard for me to do anything. So I'm kind of in limbo. All right. Now we're going to have that done. Hopefully middle to end of May. We'll have those versions in. And then I'm off to China in June. So, between now and hopefully that time, we'll have a much better idea. But it's something we want to get right. We're absolutely going to get this right. The chassis is having some changes I'm doing at the moment. They're going off to have a hopefully final prototype made. Nothing serious, but as you can probably see, if you look on this little display, you've probably seen the video. We've got, if you've got the GPS card, we've got the built-in little OLED display with a little jog dial, and I've made a front panel for that with the dial and the OLED, and also headphone output. That's as well as probably two others. So that's going in, but also there's some extra stiffening supports on the side. I think I mentioned this before. What we found because I have the panel, the bezel supports are in the four corners, and the side of the monitor was basically relying on this latching system, and it works. It holds it in place. Unfortunately, if you get some bass up, turn really high, it vibrates the side. So I put an extra screw hole, because as soon as you hold it tight, it stops that. So that's good. So there's a few little tweaks and strengthening on the stand, which I made a bit thin. So again, this should be the final, hopefully fingers crossed, the final prototype. I'm assuming you can all hear me, by the way. I'm just chatting away here, because I've not actually looked. And so it's coming on well, and I hope to have them in probably that chassis mat 2 or 3 weeks. which will be great. I'm going to be showing, for those that didn't know, I was at OLL 2023 a couple of weeks ago, which is brilliant. Lots of people there. And that was good fun. And I'm doing Retcon in middle of June in Greenford. So if you're interested in that, look online, Retcon. And that's a great little event. I've done that for the last couple of years. But I'm also doing, obviously the big one is Kickstart in first weekend in July, which should be good. Come along and meet Appy. That should be fun. So we're doing that, and then in October I'm doing Amiga 38. I think it's 38. Yeah, it's 38 in Germany, which will be good. Right, so some little bits and pieces news. Yeah, so the ordering page will be going up soon. Once I've got basically the figures I've already announced. There's just a couple of little changes, just confirmations I need before I start taking money. The other thing is shipping. I looked into logistics of having it done from China. And it didn't work out any cheaper. To be honest, to go to the US and Australia was the same price as me. But to come here in Europe was 3 times the price. So we're not going to be, probably, unless something drastically changes, not going to be doing that. So they'll be doing like I did before. And again, we're waiting for some updated prices on shipping. That's another reason, because we haven't actually physically got the final dimensions of the box and the weight and everything. So that's a little bit tricky, although I know roughly what it is. Okay, so something slightly different then from the monitors for a moment. Some of you know I've been working on, I'm a big fan of Aros. If you are interested in Aros, I've had on my website a page, and I'm going to do a video about this, but I'm just trying to get time to do it. So basically what I've done was I've paid for the network drivers for some motherboards that you can get actually fully supported. So they've NVIDIA, now this is old NVIDIA graphics, okay, it's not modern, but you can get these boards from China that have Enforce basically, and you get a really good 3D graphics built into it. You have an AMD pretty good, but it doesn't matter, it's super fast, 3 gigahertz, something like that, but that's really fast for an Amiga. And so I've got some complete Aros boxes. I've got enough to make about 10, but I'm giving a couple away. So I've probably got, if you're interested in them, just bear in mind there's only about half a dozen. So, and I won't be doing any more. I'm just doing a few just to, well, I was going to say recoup some of the money, but actually one of my patrons has paid for that, so his name's on there. So he paid for the drive, which is handy, and so that's all good. And that's actually really, if you haven't used Aros, you should. I can't understand why you wouldn't. It's absolutely brilliant, and I've created some 68K virtual machines on it, and there's a really high-end 3.1 RTG system. Which obviously looks fantastic on the monitors. There's also a gaming one, which is again 3.1 but with WHD load. It's set up for gaming, and then there's a 1.3 experience with a hard drive, just so you can see what it looks like. And again, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to cover all this, and you'll be able to see it. And it also comes in one of my boxes. As you can, that actually behind me, where I'm pointing to, that one there, that is actually the Aros box. As I said, there's loads of cases, but there's not many motherboards. I bought a bunch of these motherboards and chips, and so the motherboards are reconditioned. They're actually old motherboards, but they're really good condition and they work and so on. Everything else is new: the RAM, the chip, the CPU, power supply, fan, all of that lot's brand new. It's just a motherboard. That's because that's because it's one that's fully supported, and that actually works really nicely. So go and have a look at that. Right, if you were interested in buying Plus, I must admit the last 2 or 3 months I haven't done much PR on my cases, and so it seems to be Germany the only country's buying at the moment, and so the sales have kind of dipped a little bit, so I need to do some more PR for that. But if you remember the original red and white cases, the Kickstarter cases, there's 7 left. That's the case, that's the packaging, okay? So once they're gone, all cases, mini or plus cases, will go in the mini boxes, okay? Because I've got a lot of them, and I'm not. Once we've wound them down and they run out, I'm going to do a new box that will have both on it, okay? But they're very, very expensive, these boxes, so I'll be moving into that. So if you do want one with the original box, you're gonna have to get it, because literally there's 7 left. So if you do want one of them, and plus case, hurry up. If you don't care, fine, then you can have them in the other box. The other ones are actually really nice, and they're lovely boxes, but it doesn't say plus on it. That's that. Right. What's next? What can I think of next? Let's have a look, see if we've got any questions. Right, let's see what people are saying. Appy's saying a lot, obviously. Saying hello, everyone. Good day. Evening all. Are we seeing one Amiga connected to 2 displays? No. Well, yes. Actually, Jonathan, yes. Jeremy, sorry. I've just basically got my Pi Storm. The HDMI is connected to one, and the other one's going into the other monitor, which has got VGA. Now I could have done this all in one monitor, but I wanted to show the fact we've got the OLED on there. You've probably seen the OLED. We've got that lovely little OLED that controls GBS control. It makes it really easy to use. So you can set up your profiles in the browser and get them set up, but then you just select your profiles, presets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or you can just select a resolution. It's actually a really nice little thing we're trying to put together. So it kind of finishes that part of it off, and it'll have a nice piece on the front. So that's that. At the moment, it's just a bit tacky. I've got one of the other. If you remember rightly, the other one that didn't fit properly, I got a cable tied in and made a hole in it and that kind of thing. So, but it works. It works great. But the new the mount bracket is quite complicated. But that should be quite nice. So I'll get that soon and test that. I've had to modify the bezels of the main monitor bezels to allow that little thing to fit, because it's actually quite a funny shape. Here, so I don't know how well you're about to see that. Probably not very well. I want you to see it better on there. Yeah, it's just a tiny little inch square device, but it works really nice. And so that's good. Has the timer just jumped back 29 minutes? I don't know. I hope not. Did I start? I don't think I started early. Yes, Appy's back. Beer, yeah, absolutely. Oh, what kind of beer? Oh, all right. Let's do it on this one, actually. Yeah, that's the beer. Dark ale. I normally just straight ale, but question: what happens if you connect a DVD player? I want to watch Space 1999 on it. That is a good question. Well, I've got PS2 connected to it. We've had that connected by SCART. Works great. Or composite. I haven't actually plugged it. It's a good question. I haven't plugged DVD player in, because most of them, to be honest, would be widescreen. So they probably want to put it in widescreen. So I don't know. I'm not sure what will happen actually. Maybe it's something to try. Because remember, this is not a widescreen display. Might be worth having a look. Probably going to scale it. But I think Space 1999 is probably one of the old 4.3s. But the old non-widescreens. But be interesting to see how it handles. I wouldn't be surprised if it outputs widescreen and then shrinks it, so you end up with a little square in the middle. I might, if I get a chance, I'll have a look at that. But there's nothing we can do about it because, well, I suppose there could be. My 4K capture card will work with it because it allows me to actually scale using the card. I use it now. Okay, look, Malachi, here's the thing. Can you capture 1280 1024? Have you tried that? Because as long as it will capture it, it doesn't go, like my one in the Mac, it just won't have it at all. But these little, and that was like 200 odd quid. And these little things, yeah, fine, absolutely fine. Just put it in, bang, there we go. It's 12. It just works, it's brilliant. I like your tank mice in the background. Yeah, do you know what? They're absolutely fantastic. As a little shout to Lucas. He's done such a good. I've got one. Look. Okay, first of all, I love them, and I'm going to order more. Right, I really, really love them. But I have two tiny little gripes. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, one of them gripes has gone away. Right, so two tiny little gripes. On my white one, when you, because it's connected to the Amiga, we press, yeah, but when you press this one, can you hear that? When you push it hard, if you just press it like that, it's fine. If you press it hard, it clonks. But this one doesn't do it. So I'm wondering, I might take it apart. It might be something that I can correct. Tiny little gripe. Tiny. It is wonderful. These are absolutely wonderful, right? My second little gripe. Very light. It's not a deal breaker. They just feel very light, but they're a nice shape, and I might put a bit of lead in the bottom to make it heavier. it just feels a little bit light. That's all. But that's not a complaint. It's just a texture. They've done a great job on the texture. It's really lovely texture. The buttons are great. People have said, oh, the buttons ain't the same. Of course they're not. It's got that scroll wheel, which is brilliant. And in fact, I plugged it straight into my Pi, which is on that machine there. Plugged it in, works instantly. Fantastic. So I'm going to get a few, because I'm going to probably go around replacing all my mice with these, because they're wonderful. His shop's not up yet. It's tank-mouse.com. It's not, the shop's not up yet, but I will be ordering more. Now, that feels lovely. This is just sex. I don't know what he's done to this, but it's kind of got a smooth, kind of silky. Happy you'll be liking this. It's really kind of, it's hard to, it's like that soft silk. I don't know what it is. It just feels great. So whatever he's done to that, fantastic. Yeah, very pleased with these. So yeah, do get some. And also, I'm not going to bother using the Amiga mouse again. Probably never. Well, except this one, which is actually very nice, which is the 3000 mouse, which apparently are worth €450 now. Did you know that? I paid £120 for it. In fact, I paid as much for the mouse recently than I did for the 3000 a number of years ago, like 10, 15 years ago. But yeah, those adapters, mate, you must get the adapter. But what I tell you, the genius thing, absolutely genius. You plug it into the 9-pin, it's an adapter, right? So if you want to use the Amiga, you put it in. When it starts, you press the right mouse button, and it flashes a red light, and it'll do it either flash it once, pause, flash it once again, or it'll go twice and then pause, twice and then, or 3 times and pause. And basically, You change which version it is with the left mouse button, and when you're happy with it, you press the right mouse button. 1 flash, Amiga, which is default. 2 flash, Atari ST. Great idea, because the mice, the one I've got over there is rubbish. It's old. It looks good, but it's old, and I don't use it really, to be fair. But maybe for shows and for we use it for testing and stuff. The third one though, Commodore 64 or 128. It's got a mouse now. The third one, set it for mouse. You haven't got to pay that £120 or whatever it is, or £150 to get a Commodore 64 mouse. You can just use this, and it works brilliantly. I've got that C64 OS, works fantastic. So, genius, absolutely fantastic. All we need now is keyboards. Anyway, right. What cards are you using? Okay, the capture device outputs what you. Hyper Elgato Capture 4K 60. Right, well, yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if you can put a 1280 by 1024 display into it. Oh God, here we go. Loud and clear, yes, we can hear you. Question: can we see the T-shirt? I like motorbikes. If you don't know, I like motorbikes. I've covered the tank mouse. Looking forward to seeing you in Kickstart. Yep, thank you. I've answered the tank mouse questions. Come and meet the true Looney Tune. Let's put it this way: App is a character. It should be entertaining. Have you put a component source in? I've used a component before. I think I've already mentioned this. The default monitor no longer has component in. That's because the card it was based on, the chips are no longer available. And so they've got a new version, but that doesn't have component in. Now, on the other hand, it was only interlace. So most people thought, I'll play games on it. You couldn't play any games on it. So, but if you get the GBS system, which is not going to be expensive, it's got component in on that as well. And it does low res and interlace. So it's all good. The good thing about the new card is it's got 2 HDMI outs as well, which is good. So what we took with one hand, we had give back with the other. I have no question, but I also want to watch Space 1999. Do you have a time you're hoping to launch the monitor page, or are you waiting on prototype to finish those components? Right. Yeah, I mean, I've kind of mentioned this already, but I'll go for it again. So hopefully sometime next month. I mean, the reality is the prices are not going to change, but let's be blunt, okay? It's become very expensive. Everyone knows the price of the monitor, and everyone knows the price of the panel, okay? We all know that. But depending on how much it costs to make means that some of the extras might creep up a little bit. That's all. Yeah. So and also I haven't got the finalised price of shipping, because at the moment my shipping's quite high, especially if you're in Australia. So I'm going to look into it's fine for the UK, it's fine for Europe, no problems. Wouldn't even notice it. But the US is not as bad actually, because I've got 500 of going to the US, but there's about 200-300 going to Australia, but their shipping is quite expensive. So we're going to see if we can do maybe a drop ship somehow. That's one of the reasons for holding off, and it's nerve-wracking because it's such a lot of money for shipping. If I get it wrong, I'll lose too much money, so I've got to get it right. So it's important that once I do it, you jump on it and order. Okay, but bottom line, I don't want your money yet. So don't feel bad about it, because I'm not trying to take your money. Wait, those are Amiga wireless mouse. Yes, exactly. Blue tack's not a bad idea. I think a bit of lead. Strip it. I've got some lead in the garage. Strip of lead. I won't lick it. Double-sided glue. Just stick it inside. Just to give it a bit of weight. I don't want it heavy. But look, don't get me wrong. It's fantastic. This is fantastic. He's done such a great. I was disappointing with that is lovely, but that is annoying, but doesn't do it on this one. So I think it might be just something catching. It might be a burr or something, which I'll open up and have a look. So, but even that, it's not a showstopper. Where'd you get them? Soon. It was a Kickstarter, so if you didn't back it, you didn't get them. But he's going to be releasing them soon for sale. Tank-mouse.com. Let me just check that. Tank mouse. Let's just start getting right for you. They're there. They're up. They're up for sale. They've gone up in price. Wow, they have gone up in price. Still worth it. They're absolutely brilliant. Yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah. They have gone up in price. Probably €10. And I can see the USB adapters have gone up quite a lot. They're €25 just for that. But to be fair, they're probably not a cheap thing to make. But it's worth it. I suppose when you add the two together, it actually gets quite expensive actually. But they are really nice. So I can thoroughly recommend them. I mean, there's no point buying it without the adapter. Okay. If you want to use it with an actual Amiga or an Atari but it is up and running. It wasn't up the other days, but now it is. That's good news, right? I didn't go in on the dongle. Kind of regret that. Yeah, should do because it's brilliant. I will have to plug my VHS. Oh, okay. Right. Let me see. They can be ordered now. Questions. So, what do we think about the keyboard situation? Something you might do, right? Okay. So, I did actually talk to Philippe the other day from the A1200.net boys, and I've been waiting for them to get theirs ready. Now, theirs is not going to be the kind of one that I would have made. It's going to be a fine keyboard. But I've already said, once the monitors are shipping, let's see what's happening, because I've got something I want to make. The keyboard's the last part of the equation for me, and if you probably know, I've got one of these classic old 2000 Cherry keyboards, and so what I want to do is kind of make one of them with proper Cherry switches, but at a reasonable price. Well, reasonable. Not cheap anyway. I think if I can sort something out with Lucas to get to these, maybe we can use them as the mouse. But the keyboards we'll have to wait and see. But that's not. Let me ship monitors. Basically, if the keyboards are not available, then I'll look into it again. I'd rather just have someone else's if it was good enough and buy them and ship them. Which boards would be best to add? HDMI and SCAR, but to future-proof, I may want some extras. Well, okay, how long's a piece of string? You really want to get the GBS boys. No, well, there is. You can buy this monitor. If you buy the monitor, the standard version, right? It comes with 2 HDMIs, normal VGA input, 2 full composites with their own independent audio, and so it comes with that. There's 2 USB sockets on it if you want to play media. So obviously, what you really want though is to now that with the composites fantastic. Okay, I mean, it really is good. It's really good. I mean, that's all I can say. You know, you put it on, and unless you can see the RGB, the SCART version next to it, you probably, especially if it's moving, you won't be able to tell the difference. So it is good, even with like Workbench or using a high resolution Workbench. You can use it. I would have killed for it back in the day. Trust me, I would have been all over it. But obviously, SCART is better. So there's if you go for the upgrade, we all know the prices of the upgrade. I've put it up there. Might vary a few pounds. It won't be much, but the price I put up there is probably not far off what that part's going to cost. What might push it up is obviously now we've got this, and we've got an adapter to mount to the front, and there's more cables, etc. Plus, it's on a socket board, you know. So it might go up a little bit, but we'll as I said, we'll see about that. But it won't be much out of what I've already quoted. And so I would get that because that has RGB SCART, it has component, it has RGBS, I think it is. Appy can put it in a thing. It's got another VGA on there, which I think is mostly for arcade boards. But on top of that, we've got CGA and EGA. And we're also doing some, or Appy, I would use the royal way. Appy's experimenting. We've always talked about doing this mono mode. If you're putting an old machine in and you want to do mono mode somehow, that will all be on that GBS card. So that could be good fun. So that's probably most of what you want. Now the only thing you might want different to that is potentially S-video. I can't see. Unless we're talking, you know, the really like the some workstations, Next machines, those kind of machines, which is something we're going to have a look into later as a plug-in board. But yeah, so there's quite a bit going to be coming. But though that secondary board is the one you really want to go for. Make sure you upgrade it. There is a potential that in the future it might just be standard. Oh, the one thing to bear in mind, this is very important, okay? It should be very important. After the Kickstarter, the price is going up. This is not a cheap monitor. It's not cheap to make. I know people say, but I can pick one up. I can pick a 1280 1024 IPS panel up for, what people keep saying, 250 quid. Rubbish. A good one, 350 at least. And so, but you know, this is going to go up in price. Not a huge amount, but it is going to go up in price because everyone will have the backplane or ones that we sell going forward. Now, we can't at the moment, not in the price I budgeted, because of the cost of the slots of the main board. The backplane is going to have to be an extra. It will be inexpensive. It's literally just to cover the cost of it. But if you don't buy it at that point, it's gonna go right up in price if you buy it later. So make sure you look at it, you literally really read everything and understand everything when you're buying it, because it's a buy now or later it'll be twice as much. Yeah, so not the monitor, but certain parts like the backplane. If you buy it with the Kickstarter, it'll be at price A. If you buy it after, it'll be at least twice. Okay, so bear that in mind. But things like the VGA, the HDMI output is not going to be expensive. So that's I think that's going to be a good one. What else have we got here? I've answered that one. I'm like, oh, hang on. If you do something keyboard related, can you do something that fits under the plus? No, because I'm not. I know it would be nice, but my ultimate aim is to create an Amiga 2000/3000 keyboard. That's it. You can already buy them. I already do keycaps. You can buy nice little keyboards and slide underneath. I'm not going to make. I want to make a big keyboard. I'm not going to make half a dozen, so I'm going to make one. And it'll be cherry, so it will be really good. I mean, the ones I do at the moment, which I'm nearly out of them actually. I think I've got about 50. Oh, I don't even know I've got that many. About 30, 40 left. Once they're gone, There's no more. In fact, I think I'm out of keycaps, actually, to be fair. But they're not bad. I mean, I use one here. I've got one here and it works nicely. Having said that, because they're clone cherry red switches, but my other keyboard here is real cherry red switches. And if you don't touch the real one and you type on that, you like it. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's really nice. Then you type on the real one. Okay, yeah, it's worth twice the price. But that's just the way things are. They're very expensive. Okay. I'm in Portugal. When do you expect to send the monitors to Portugal? Oh, look, the shipping date has always been set Q4. Okay, so it's between September and December. So I'm not saying it bears no relation to what country. I couldn't give a monkey. It's down to when you pay your final balance, you get an invoice number, and they're all in order, so they ship in order. Okay, so it's sometime depending on when you paid between September and December. So my aim is to get them all shipped before the end of the year. And we're still, we're still okay. We're still okay for time. But time is moving forward. But as I said, the chassis is not far off complete. If this next one goes in, is done, then I'm going to get the tooling done. And so you could find if when that next one comes in, I go, yep, that's fine. The tooling will be done 3 or 4 weeks later, and then they'll put it on a shelf. And then it would just be a case of the circuit boards, finalising the circuit boards to get them done, and then we'll get the manufacturing, everything, synchronise it all up accordingly, and put it on a boat. So there'll be more information on that later. How flexible is the firmware that controls the input switching? Any chance to add CEC control in the future? I have absolutely no idea what CEC control is. So what I suggest you, Alex, is describe what CEC control is for me. But it's going to be what it's going to be. Ultimately there is some flexibility, and Appy's doing some pretty clever stuff. Don't tell them what you're doing, Appy, but Appy's doing some pretty clever stuff with the remote, and because obviously it's not just the control of other devices, and so he's doing some clever stuff with that. I'll have to get an adapter. Yep. Keep2K makes replacement Amiga keyboard with Cherry MX switches. Yeah, but I mean, if you can buy them, go and buy them. Yeah, why not? It's not the keyboards. It's the cases. That's the bit. It's expensive to do tooling for cases. Amusingly, I really need VGA the other days. No display with VGA. Yeah, that's surprising. PyStorm 32 Lite supports CC. I don't know what CC is. Real CGI? What is CGI? Do you not mean CGA? You're going to have to, Alex, you're going to have to kind of open this up, because I have absolutely no idea what CGI is. CGI is computer graphics. So I don't know what you said. So you have to open it up a bit, explain. So yeah, okay, yeah, so he did mean CGI. Yes, it does CGI. Mono mode. Yeah, mono mode's going to be fun, I think. Because we want to do a green mode. I want an amber mode. I really like the idea of an amber mode. And so we're and a mono mode. So that it's Appy's looking into that at the moment, which is going to be quite nice. Before the end of December, thanks. Yep. Yeah, I mean, look, you look, if it's, I don't want it to go past the end of the year, because obviously I've got another batch to do. Because I know I actually started saying this and didn't complete it. Right, this is very important. The monitors are going up in price, so if you're thinking of buying a second monitor, buy it with the Kickstarter, because the price will stay the same. If you don't, and you buy it later, you pay in the higher price. Just bear that in mind. The monitors are probably going to go up like 50 quid, something like that, because of all. we're going to be putting a lot of stuff in here, and but it'll come with all the bits and pieces. It's just the fact that it'll come with everything you need, basically. That makes it a higher price. CEC is the HDMI is a back channel for remote control access. I still don't know what it is. Sorry. Hello, Nigel. Do you know if anyone is making anything like an Amiga 1000 keyboard? Nope, I don't. Think and send remote codes via HDMI back to screen. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Not especially not this version. I need mono for my Atari and Cubase. Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually, because it's going to go through it with SCAR. But it, you know, you could just run that mode anyway, I think, can't you? That's a good point actually. I mean, because you could plug that VGA straight in anyway, and it works. I've used it on it in mono mode, straight in the VGA, the standard VGA, and it works fine. You said before in a video, those of us that bought on Kickstarter would be able to buy a second for the same price. Oh, I've just answered that. The answer is yes, but don't leave it till later because you'll probably pay the higher price. So the answer is yes, but I am putting the prices up because these are not cheap products. These are, you know, there's nothing like it. I mean, you know, there is nothing like this. And it's going to be the basis. I mean, it's a platform. For example, I think I probably already mentioned Ranko from Minimig is going to do, he said he's going to do a version of the Minimig with a PyStorm on it, which goes on a slot and plugs into the slot. So you just slot it in, screw it in, job's done, and you've got an Amiga. The fastest Amiga, probably fastest 68K Amiga out there. So that, you know, I think it's going to be pretty amazing. Yeah, so again, if you're a backer and you want to buy more at the time when you place your order, you can order another monitor for the same price as your first monitor, and the extras will be the same as well. You're just doubling up the cost. Now, I'm not going to be charging a huge, it's not going to rocketing up. It's just going to go up to cover all the costs of all the bits and a little bit more profit probably. Because it's quite scary transitioning from this, because it's either going to go flat and die afterwards, or it's going to go shoot to the moon, because so many people have shown interest and it's kind of nerve-wracking. So, you know, I have to be very careful. You've got RGB to SCART. Yes, Mark. Yes, RGB SCART, and there's composite on that SCART as well, which is supported. So, but if you put RGB to SCART, it will be RGB in the display. The Atari Mono works at 72K in 642. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Well, look, it works on mine. All right, you can go back and watch my Atari video. If you look through my videos, go search down it. You'll find I've got an Atari. And I'm running it on the monitor, and it's fine. The only thing is it's got a border at the bottom, because it actually sets up a 640 by 480 display, but it's only doing 400 lines. So you've got this gap at the bottom. Apart from that, it's fine, absolutely fine. CC is the thing when you control multiple devices interconnected. No, we're not going down that road. It sounds like over complexity. This is technically, I mean, it's an HDMI monitor, but this is a retro monitor for retro communities. Not if you need you know, a high-end HDMI, you know, this all singing, all dancing. Buy a high-end HDMI, all singing, all dancing. But having said that, we support HDMI. Look, yeah, okay. So again, you know, we'll have a look at it. But this is a retro monitor. Okay. Good question. Can the monitor do vertical 72 or just 60? I think it can. I don't want to. I'm not gonna. Don't quote me on this, which you probably will. But I've got a feeling it can do 72 actually. I've not really bothered with it because 60 is the default and everything runs fine at 60. But I do think I've had it up to 70, 72 hertz on certain modes. But I can check it. But I quote 60 at the moment, so that's what it is. Yeah, Alex, we're looking at the Amiga. The Amiga's a different thing entirely. Okay, it's switching between the SCART output and the HDMI output. Simply is something that I'd like to do, like as a Siamese system. Anyone remember that? So, but it's just you just press a button, switches. Okay, automatic. That's tricky because unless you've actually thought about this, because I've done this in the past, you have to send a signal from the Amiga, either from the power pin on the parallel or serial or something like that, to tell a switch box, I've switched Amiga display, so I need you to switch. It's not as simple as going make it so. I would like to say, Alex, I think you'll find Amiga Plus. I think you'll find I did the first switcher with the Siamese system. So, and that was 30 years ago. So I do know a bit about it. I could get it out and show you if you like. Would be a MIDI slot possible? Would a MIDI slot in be possible? If you make one? Have you found anything actually old that didn't work? Okay. At the moment we have it. Well, it's not true actually. In fact, that's a good point. Where is that cable? I've had a problem with the Archimedes because it's got some really weird, odd frequencies. It kind of works, but it's not. We're trying to look into it at the moment. Now, I haven't tried it for months. So with the old boards. And Appy's done a lot of work on changes, clock generators and stuff like that. So we're going to plug it in. But I've also got a SCART lead coming. So we're going to give that a go with the new boards. Because I'd like mine. That's the only one that has caused problems in the past. But we've not tried it for about 9 months. So we'll give that another go. Yeah, thanks, Cylon. When I connect directly to Skype, works, but not through a HD converter, only sound. I'm not sure what that means. High storm in my Amiga 1200 with ICOM HDMI. I have 2 HDMI outputs. No problem. Yeah. Right. So, any more questions? I'm going to do another stream, probably. Well, actually, when we get the new boards, I might do another stream. I'm going to be doing a video on Aros because I want to show off the machine. As I said, you can go and build your own. So the whole point is, I'll be giving you a link. You can go and buy this motherboard from China. As I said, I've got 10 of them, I think, but I'll only have about 7 for sale. So if you want one of them, go and have a look at the website and you can order one. Once they're gone, they're gone. But it's actually an amazing computer. And if you like retro machines, it is absolutely brilliant. And the fact of it, I think it's the best 68K system. It is really good because you've got this really high performance. You've got a 3 gigahertz AMD CPU in there. It's an old CPU, but it's still powerful, and it will annihilate a Pi, right? Wipe the floor with it, and you've got 3D graphics, NVIDIA graphics. It just works great. So that I'm going to be doing some more on that because I'd like to sell. I want to sell them, and do you have any images that are representative of how the speaker grill looks in black? No, I don't do them. because it really hard. It'll be black. It'll just be black. I realise it's one of those things, isn't it? But I don't make black prototypes because photographs are rubbish. You cannot take a good photograph of the black, and so it's a tricky one. Now, what will happen once the tooling's done? They send me a bunch of sample sets, 5 sets of each colour. So I will have the actual finished setups, and I'll be taking pictures of it and so on. So you'll be able to see some pictures if I can capture it nicely. But again, you're never going to tell. It's only when you stand in front of it. My gut feeling, it's going to look amazing, but I'm biased because I've done it so that it looks great with, well, for example, my black Checkmate case there, my CDTV. I think it's going to look great. I'm going to have so many of these monitors around me. But yeah, that they will look good, I think. Leave it out in the sun. Yeah, retro brighty, don't do it. Just stick it out in the sun. I don't know if you can see my 1000 down here. You're not going to be able to tell, but I've got a video I did of it recently. She was a bit yellowed. I just stuck her out in the sun. We had some really nice weather. I didn't put her out in that really hot weather, but I put her out in like 30 degrees, 28 degrees, that kind of thing. I left her out for 2 or 3 days. I tested it on some old kit first. Then I put her out there, and it literally just brought back up without the chemical doing damage to the plastic. So I don't do chemicals. Oh, okay, yeah. Do you think we have a clip widescreen input? Okay. I'm going to say no. Not the first version, because we might. There's a couple of things that I would like to do. It's really annoying that they don't support 12, wide 4354. I mean, that's very annoying because the Linux can cope with it. But I don't see why I should have to correct their issues. It's a 1280 1024 display. If they can't sort it, I'm hoping once we ship that they, because I can't believe they can't do it. Now, it should not be tricky to do. It should be able to sense it. If they're running Linux, they'll be able to sense the display and set it accordingly. What's the problem? But I'm guessing they designed it widescreen and they don't want to change that. But if people complain about it, so it's not fair for me to be expected to fix their issue. But there you go. The black of the tank mouse doesn't match the black of the CD keyboard. No, but it's still brilliant. It's really nice. I like it. Where's my drink? Right, okay, look, it's been an hour. So, unless there's any more questions, like really quick. That was probably silly putting out there, wasn't it? I'm going to call it a day. So, but look, guys, thanks very much for joining in. As you're probably aware, my outro, you don't have to stick around for it. It's flogging gear, yeah. So, but I suppose if you are thinking of getting any cases, do them soon. It's always good. Thanks for the updates. It's always good because They've gone a bit quiet. They are selling, but they've gone a bit quiet. I think because it's just I put so much effort into them, and I'm not been talking about them, so fallen off the radar a bit. But yeah, 1200 cases. No, not them cases. My cases. But thanks so much for taking part. And as I said, you don't have to watch this next bit, but it's here for people who are interested, because you know, I do these other cases as well, and it goes into all that. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. See you in 2-3 weeks, something like that, and we'll have another update, probably similar kind of thing. And I will see you soon. Bye. The Checkmate 1500 Mini and Plus cases are mostly engineered and manufactured in the UK. They're designed to give a nice retro-inspired vibe on your desktop. The 1500 Plus is the biggest of the cases and designed to be able to take much bigger motherboards inside. So this can take a micro ATX as well as mini ITX if you want to build a PC. But also, with the correct rear panel, you can fit an Amiga 500, an Amiga 1200 and an Amiga 600 and build your ultimate Amiga rig. The Mini is designed to take mini ITX motherboards, but don't think that limits you. Yes, you can build a PC, but also you can put in many custom motherboards from the retro scene, like the Mystics, which takes a DE10 Nano, one of our DE10 Nano fitting kits, a fitting kit for the Raspberry Pi 4, and other systems that are coming on stream right now. The Checkmate Garage was inspired by our new monitor developments. The reason being, if you've got a 500, 1200, an Atari ST, BBC Micro, or any of the all-in-ones, it's nice to be able to put the monitor directly above and tidy up your system. However, exciting new product is our new range of monitors, 17 and 19 inch retro inspired monitors with loads of input, but also capable of taking an all-in-one computer internally. The monitor will come to Kickstarter hopefully August, September time. If you want to go on the mailing list telling you when it's ready, please point your camera at this QR code and it will take you to the page, which will then allow you to press a button to add yourself to the mailing list. The monitor is an important part of this company's strategy. Large amounts of development work are being done and it will be like nothing you've ever seen. So hopefully it will pique your interest and you'll back us on the Kickstarter. Let's come to Patreon. Patreon is a very important part of this project. What we're planning with Patreon is, if you are a Patreon backer, whatever you've invested in Patreon to help us, we will put up to 5% of an order. So you get an extra 5%, but that's the whole order. It doesn't matter what you've ordered. It doesn't even matter if you don't back us on Patreon anymore. Hopefully you'll come back, but we'd want to show our gratitude to all those who backed us in the past. You'll see their names ticking by in this video. But I also know this is not just about people wanting discounts on products. They want more content from myself. So what you're going to see is a lot more videos from me, because now that I am full-time on this project, I'll have more time to spend on it. So I can give you videos of my computers. You'll notice I do have a reasonable collection and I'm going to talk you through them. This is something that was at the top of the list for people who back me on Patreon. Not everyone does it to back the new projects. So how come I've got more time? Well, for the last 15 years I've worked for a company called Web Labs, and they've been absolutely fantastic. In fact, none of these products would have existed, and I'm going to stick their logo up here. I want to thank them, and going forward we'll probably still work with Web Labs and do some further development. But ultimately I want to concentrate on this project and hopefully make a success of it. And let's hope I can be doing this for many years to come.